All right, and we are live tonight. First of all, Steve, welcome back.
Same to you. Merry Christmas. Happy
Same to
holidays.
you. Yep, I hope everyone out there has been enjoying or currently still enjoying their holiday season. It's been fun, busy, hectic, been running around, all that fun stuff. But I think that's kind of what the holidays are really about, is being hectic and panicked and stressed, and then finding some way to relax with family. Not sure how that works, but
Well, that's part of it.
yeah. Then it's the downtime after the holidays, which is kind of nice. So I enjoy that.
What's downtime?
I haven't figured that out, but I'm pretty sure someday it's out there and I'll figure that out. So with that,
let me know.
I will shoot you a link on, there's probably a YouTube video that tells you how to relax. I'm sure they're out there. I've seen some of them. All right. So tonight we're going to follow up on part 2 of our Highland House investigation that we've done. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, wasn't it, when this video kind of fell into our lap and then went viral and took off all over the place? Is that about right?
It was around then, yeah, because it was 2019. Is when the video came out, so about 5 years.
Yep. So the video came out of a baby on a baby monitor seeing a apparition walking across the screen, and we did an investigation there. This particular video was actually featured on the second episode of season 1 of Ghost Nation, where the TAPS team, TAPS home team, came out and did an investigation. Steve and Jason and Tango came out and checked it out. Our team was kind of involved in that, helping out behind the scenes for a little bit. And the video really went viral, I think more so than anyone expected it to. In the paranormal community, it blew up.
It went international. I mean, there was, I've looked at sites, and there's sites in England and in Eastern Europe, and yeah, it went all over.
Yep. So we've never really, other than the episode on Ghost Nation, we've never really put it out there and talked about it in any capacity. But we wanted to take that opportunity to do that tonight, just kind of discuss it and maybe discuss how I feel like we maybe partially debunked that particular video. But I think what we can do, let's get started with showing the video again. Most people that are in the paranormal community may be familiar with this particular video, but let's take a look at it, and we'll talk about it after we see it. So we're going to stop and go back real quick. Right at the very beginning, you're going to see something right here coming across the screen from right to left, and it grabs the attention of the baby that's in the crib right here. And you can see the baby standing up, looking around, and it looks creepy. Just to see the baby react to it, it recognizes something's there. It's, reacting to that, and it's looking around like it heard a noise, it heard something moving, maybe even saw it moving, but clearly the baby saw that thing walking across the room.
Yeah, and like you said, you can clearly see motion in the background, moving from right to left. The baby responds, and this is the video that went out. And this is unedited video. This is straight from their storage. So there was nothing that would, we've checked it. There's just nothing that's been done with this video. This is the actual video of what happened.
Yeah, this was the video that was shared with us directly from the client, straight from their video camera. The way their video camera worked, it was one of those baby monitor video cameras that records the video and stores it up in the cloud, which is going to be an important part of what we're going to talk about as we get into debunking this. But this video, and I'm starting it over again a few times just so people can kind of see that walking across the screen. When this kind of got out there, our local news station actually reached out to our team, and I went out and met with one of the reporters, and we went in the house, And at the time that we were out there looking at it, what you can't see here well in this picture, it looks like a curtain rod. There were a bunch of clothes and a bunch of bags of clothes that were here. The people that were in the house were in the process of moving from one place to another. And so you never really see that in this video, but having been there like the day after or a couple of days after that occurred, you could see, you can't see here, but I could see in pictures that we have that there was a bunch of clothes there because they were in the middle of moving from place to place. So something walking through there, it kind of looks like it's walking through from the spatial difference, these clothes and this rack of clothes that are there, which was interesting. So when Ghost Nation was getting started, they had reached out to TAPS family teams, which SPI of Michigan is the TAPS family representative for the state of Michigan. They had reached out to us and all of our teams, hey, what cases do you have? We want to get back to working with, families and homes that are uncomfortable and help them out. And so, I reached out to them and said, hey, we've got this interesting video here. It's kind of gone viral. It's blown up. And they decided they wanted to come out and take a look at it, and was great to have them out, as we talked in the previous podcast, how it was great to have the team out, see them again, and have them use a lot of their resources to find out a lot of history about this house that we were not able to locate just from our resources being limited compared to a group like TAPS. So what we wanted to do was our team went on site and we wanted to figure out from a scientific perspective, man, I can't talk tonight, a scientific perspective, how is it possible that this is either paranormal or not? And so getting the video evidence from the owners directly and having an unedited, unfiltered version of the video allowed us to kind of dig into it a little bit more and see what we had. And part of what we did was we wanted to recreate that. And so we did the best that we could with what we had at the time. And what we found out was there's something called artifacting and video compression. And I'm going to let Steve, are you comfortable talking about this, Steve? I figured we could pull up the next video, not the debunking video, but the video about the dog. Do you want to speak on that?
Right. Well, I'll talk a little bit about it. I know you're much more versed in that type of information than I do, but basically what's happening is there's a difference in the way that the cameras store its data, depending on if it's a local storage, like if you have an SD card in the camera itself, or if you're storing it to the cloud. Mike mentioned the word artifacting and compression. Well, when it's storing to an SD card, it's giving you everything it sees, full blown data, video, images, whatever. When you store it to the cloud, it takes what it feels or what the software interprets as the most important information that it's viewing, usually in direct field of sight, whatever is best lit, however the software, calculates all that. Anything else gets kind of filtered in a way to preserve as much data as possible for what the camera feels is most important. Okay. When you set up the camera and you store it that way, you can't decide, at least I don't know if you can or not. It probably depends on the camera. Maybe the newer ones do. I don't know. But this particular camera, this was actually, it's a Logitech Circle 2. It's a 1080p HD 180 degree wide angle camera with night vision. It's got a few LEDs on it. So they're infrared LEDs. So it's not like a full-blown camera like we would use for our investigations. It's limited. It's for seeing a small area and getting information. So when it uploads it, it processes the data. Everything it doesn't feel is important kind of gets dropped or compressed or filled in. And that's why you get images that don't seem like they look right. So does that sound like a pretty good explanation?
Yeah. So digital content, digital information is nothing but a bunch of ones and zeros in a specific pattern so that the computer translates ones and zeros that are digital into information. So as Steve mentioned, compression is a big part of that. When you're storing something up to a cloud, you're limited by how much storage you have. If it's an SD card, you have this much. If it's on the cloud, you maybe only have this much. So when it compresses things, it's like, you know, this 1 and 0 is important, but these ones aren't. So let's just drop those out so we can focus on what we feel the important 1s and 0s are in that digital information. And Steve found a great video online. I'll put the link up here as we show the video to reference it as well. So if you want to look at it yourself later, it'll be in the video you're about to see, that kind of shows what video compression can do to an image, especially when it's infrared, because at night the image quality is slightly lessened because you're relying so heavily on IR lights to illuminate the darkness.
And as I mentioned, depending on the camera, it may not have that many IR lights, and they may not be that powerful to reach certain distances.
Yep. So let me pull this up. I'm going to add this. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to go back here.
Which, by the way, Mike, I just want to say that I like the lights across the ceiling.
Not mine. They're cool, though. All right, so let me pull this up, add it to stage, and here we go.
All right, so what you're looking at here, this is a video I found of just 2 dogs playing in the background. And Mike's posted the link. I mean, we're giving credit to this YouTube channel where we found this at. But you can see, it looks like the lighter shaded dog fades in and out like he's a ghost, And, whether it was put up as, people really thought that the dog was out there playing, or they know and they put it out here. But this is a great example of those 1s and 0s being dropped, like Mike mentioned. It's a lighter shade dog. It's a lighter background. So it's kind of blending, pardon me, into the background when it's running around. And that's how the software is processing it as, well, it's part of the background. I'm going to lose this information. So you can see, like,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, so it's interesting how, again, the video decides what's important and what's not. And again, the IR lights from this camera probably aren't the best. And so that light background, as Steve said, it just kind of disappears at times, like it fades away and you don't really see what's going on. So again, you can see the 2 dogs running, but one stands out more because the light's being more reflective and it stands out more against that background. And this is a great example of compression and artifacting when you have a digital image that's being stored somewhere. And
we've seen, I mean, we're trying to do some research on this. I saw tons of videos across the internet where this stuff happens, where people have like cameras out front of their house facing out to a street, and it looks like they see something walking, which turns out, me watching and having an understanding of how this works in the background, it's a person walking that's just getting basically dropped, the details by the software or the camera as it's being uploaded. I mean, I saw one clear video where it was a person outside the house. They see something walking, but next to the person, there's another small little thing. And basically what it was, to me, it was a person walking their dog that just got cut out. Mm-hmm. But when they see it, it could be a freaky thing. It's like, what was that? There was nobody out there, but we see this shaded thing that looks like a ghost. Do they really believe it, or are they putting it as, oh, this is cool, let's see what people think? We can't really say for sure. Yep. But looking at it from a logical standpoint, how we try to approach an investigation and try to debunk this information to prove what could or couldn't be, we take that into consideration. So we're going to show you the original video first. Then we're going to pull up the second video and talk about how we tried to debunk it, and then show you that video. So let's start with the original video one more time. We're just going to show you the first 10 seconds of that clip. Let's add that back here. Here we go. So again, you can kind of see something walking right to left, the image in the background. And now we're going to pull up our video. Now what we did, if you can see the image here, we went in and instead of using our own equipment, we wanted to replicate everything we possibly could about the environment. So we asked to use their camera
instead of our own. So this is video footage that was shot using that Logitech. Was it a Circle 2? Was it?
Yeah, Logitech Circle 2.
Yeah. So this was video footage that we recorded from their camera where we were trying to debunk it. The only thing that we really couldn't replicate, we tried to get the same angle and everything else. We couldn't replicate all the clothes and the clothes hanger that you see in this first image here in the back that it looked like it walked through, because there was none there at the time. They'd cleaned that space up by that point. This was probably about a month or two after we first saw this video. So let's pull this up and take a look at it.
Who was nominated to get in the crib?
We nominated Brandon, one of our investigators. I don't think he actually got in the crib. We were kind of worried about breaking it, but we did place the crib in place, and we had him sitting right on the outside of the crib, and his job was to be the baby in the video. Brandon had to stand up and be seen by the camera so we can kind of replicate it as best as possible. And you'll see me walking back and forth a few times trying to replicate it until eventually, well, let's just pull the video up and watch it.
See a shadow from it.
The audio on the video is kind of quiet, so we're going to narrate as best as possible, but you can kind of see me standing in the background, and Brandon is kneeling right by the crib.
Your face is very defined still. That's what we want to try and see. So do this one more time.
And we're talking about trying to replicate this as best, but we even turned the TV on in the back corner.
Ghost into the pot. It looks like a ghost wearing a hoodie now. All right. Brandon, you got your left hand up? Yes, I do. All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
So I'm walking across. Brandon sits up and looks, and you can kind of see my legs disappear a little bit.
Right. When you get further to the left, you see your body starts to fade out.
You disappeared right near the bathroom again.
So I'm coming back into frame.
Yeah, you're vanishing out of view, but I mean, you can tell it's a human walking.
So the voice you hear is one of our investigators, Todd, who's kind of walking us through when to go. So at this point, I tried to go as far over as possible.
And clearly,
creepy.
I'm gone.
Big change. Just that extra 1.5 feet or whatever it is that you moved over.
You just vanished. Did I really? You did.
Exactly. It made you vanish.
Saw right through you.
And then I ran back and forth because, hey, if you can't see me, I'm going to keep running. So
we have proof of Ghost Mike.
Yeah. Woo. So, so with that being the case, let's play it one more time. And we're just going to skip a little bit further ahead. And again, Brandon sits up because he's replicating the baby at this point. The video is focusing on the baby. And I got to say, Oscar-worthy performance by Brandon in that moment. I mean, he's like sitting up, looking around, and he was best baby I've seen in a while on screen.
No, if we ever have to replicate a baby again in a video, I do nominate Brandon.
Yes, Brandon is our baby guy. That sounded weird. So with that being the case, as you can see here, the video is focusing on Brandon, which would be the baby in the original video. I'm walking in the background, and it's dropping the data that are just a bunch of ones and zeros. Me, it's just dropping that video, that digital data, and compressing it, and then I run off screen again. So I feel like we did partially debunk this. Now, why do I say partially? When I went there during that interview, there's a whole bunch of clothes and a clothes rack and everything else in the path that whatever that was that walked across the screen walked across. When we went back, it wasn't there. I had to move further away the second time I walked by in order to truly disappear or have it be data that was not relevant, that cloud storage that has limited space was compressing down to record as much of what it perceives to be important video as possible in that cloud storage that's available. So I walk by, I move back a second time, and when I go back a second time, that's when I truly disappeared. So when I say partially, we didn't have the clothes in the clothes rack in that space that would keep us from walking back. You can see something there right now. If I remember correctly, Steve, I think that was like drywall and stuff leaning up against a closet. They were doing some construction work.
Yeah, actually, you can look and you can see the ceiling is open because they're fixing the ceiling in that room.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a panel of drywall from them. So yeah, we couldn't replicate the environment 100%, but I mean, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Also,
So again,
the biggest thing I noticed too is our footage that we used. If you notice, it's much brighter. So did we have any? I because I wasn't there for this. I was in the other
yes.
other house. Did
Yeah,
we have another IR light that was running or another camera that was going at the same time?
we did. We had two cameras going. We had what we typically use for our camera recording, and we had this one going as well. So what we didn't realize until after we filmed this video and like I said, just partially debunked it. What we didn't realize was that even though our camera was not recording, it was still sitting there providing additional IR light, which is why it's so much brighter.
But the baby cam still did the exact same thing, regardless of the extra light.
Yep.
So, and I
And
do
that
notice.
could, and
Oh,
that's a great point. I hadn't thought about this. That could actually explain why I had to move further back in order to disappear in the
because you had more
video.
light on you.
Yep. I hadn't even thought about that till now, Steve.
But again,
Brilliant.
as we've talked about in previous videos, these are things that we learn along the way to make notes of. So when we have an encounter in the future, we'll know. Don't add extra eyelines. Make sure all of our stuff is turned on. So if we're trying to replicate it, so everything is a learning process. This was a new, trying to figure out what was going on with this webcam was a brand new thing for us because we've never really tried to replicate something like that before.
So one last time, we're going to show the original video followed directly up with our video right afterwards. Again, you can see it walking across. I'm going to add this video to the stage.
And I apologize for occasionally coughing. It's a seasonal allergy thing.
It's all good. And you see me disappear. So I think this particular video was a really strong debunking of that video. Again, maybe not 100%, but pretty darn close. And I was very proud of the work that we did.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it's a very plausible explanation for what happened because obviously we weren't there. We don't know the situation. The TV was on. Did they leave the TV on for something for the baby? Was somebody in the room watching the TV? Did they get up and leave? We don't know. And even and we know from experience, we don't always know everything that we do during a day. One of them could have been up in the room and walked away and not realized it, and then looked at the video later and said, well, what is this? And they might not have known. Could it have been one of them? Sure. But obviously we weren't there. We can't say for sure, but this gives a really good explanation as, yes, it possibly could have been one of them. They may not have realized they were in the room at that time.
So key takeaways from this video, just because we're going to wrap it up here in a few minutes. The key takeaways, when you're trying to debunk something, try to replicate the environment as best as possible as the original video that was shared with you. Try to use the same equipment that was used when the original video was shot if you're trying to debunk an existing video. Understand digital compression. If it's a digital recording environment, your local storage is always going to be able to store it more. It'll still compress it a bit, but it's not going to drop as many ones and zeros in that digital compression as we spoke about. And I think most importantly, trust your gut sometimes, get your team together, brainstorm how to do these things. And I think, if you're ever trying to debunk, you can be pretty successful at a lot of things. But again, we've seen so many things that we can't explain. I was very proud of the fact that we were able to partially debunk this one. And I'm very excited to have had the opportunity to share that with people to kind of see what we've done to help this particular piece of evidence get debunked.
Yeah. And another thing to say too is because when this video went out, there were so many people that jumped on this video.
Mm-hmm.
I saw sites where someone was going through and they're ripping the homeowners and they're saying, oh, this is edited video. And they tried to do replications and show what was going on, but I can't say for sure that they did it in the same manner using cloud storage or an SD card. Because again, going back to learning, if we have to do this again, we will do multiple ways of debunking with an SD card and with cloud storage to kind of get a varying between the two, to eliminate that stuff, and we've also had people that kind of ripped us, all these people don't know what they're talking about. See, they had to call these people in, but they don't understand. It wasn't our show. Right. We were reached out to, we responded, and we were there supporting what Ghost Nation was doing. So we had no control over anything. And, there's other evidence that we've caught that they didn't look at. They were there for their show.
Yep.
That's
and
the
they
way
caught some they caught some interesting stuff. And I know that they reached out to the homeowners a couple times, just as we have. And like we said in the previous video about this particular house, we've built a relationship with these clients, which I think was important. It's not just an investigation. It's truly a relationship. We've investigated the house 3 times. We've spoken about going back a 4th time. But I think the thing is, no matter what, whether it's the TV show with the Taps family or us, if you're out there investigating, build the relationships with the people that you're trying to help. Don't just look at them as a one and done. Really try to invest in them. I think that's the best way to help anybody in any particular investigation case.
Clients are people. You have to treat them like you would want to be treated. I mean, yes, we've talked before. We've had some people contact us who are, a little more into it, or they're looking for certain things other than, trying to get answers. Maybe they want attention. You still have to be respectful and treat them like people, because that's how, like you said, that's how you build relationships. That's how we have to present ourselves. It's like, we're not going to go in there all smug or, be jerks or anything, as all these people don't know what they're talking about. No, I mean, you treat them with respect. You listen to them. You build those relationships. You can find something or not. You still can be nice about it. You don't have to be jerks or anything like that. Or like I said.
Yep. All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I think at this point, we're signing off for the rest of the year. I love saying that when it's so close to the end of the year. I tell people at work, I'll see you next year. So I think we're signing off for the rest of the year, and then we'll probably catch back up and see you guys in 2025. Steve?
And one thing I would like to add, I know Mike loves this, like and subscribe. We are trying to build, some viewership and stuff like that to try to get information out there. We know we're not, we don't post a clickbait. We don't post this crazy stuff and everything like that. We're just trying to, show some stuff that we do and try to help some people, or try to think a little bit different. So
be careful, Steve. I'm gonna figure out how to do those videos. So like, you'll click up here, it says like, and I'll click here, it says subscribe. That drives me nuts, but I'm gonna work on that for the next year. It'll be kind of funny, but we'll figure that out.
Right.
All right. We hope everyone had a great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I just hope everybody had a good holiday time, and hopefully the new year is safe and fun for everybody. And, hopefully 2025 comes and, we all have a good time.
Yep, absolutely, Steve. I hope you and your family enjoy the rest of the holiday season. And
same to you.
All of our viewers out there enjoy the same. And we'll see you guys in the new year. Thanks, everyone. Have a great one.
Thank you.